Yo, what's up? Hey, I'm back again. It's the Purple Yeti. It's the ridiculous moniker, and it's my roar. It's the Purple Yeti roar of the week. What happened? Nothing. Well, yesterday was Record Store Day, so for those of you who like to find deep cuts and good finds for pregame warm-ups, I know back when I went to not Texas, but Kansas State just happened to be champions of Texas last year. But when I went, they weren't, which is a long time ago. We're talking over 10 years. But when I went there, the pregame warm up was pretty much your greatest hits of the 80s, including Queen's We Want It All, which actually does get me pumped up pretty well. But I mean, we had stuff from Bon Jovi to I think some Accept and Rat and maybe even some Scorpions. Who knows? Animals, vermin related bands were in that. But so when I went to school there, that's what that was. Now I did have had the opportunity in the last couple of years to go back. Yeah, pregame music changed. It's all the hippin' and the hoppin' and the bippin' and the boppin'. So it's fine. We ready to ride. I don't need English. So if you were looking like what I was looking for yesterday for some deep cuts, for some pregame warm ups, yesterday was National Record Store Day, or just Record Store Day. Um, for that, I think the split cut of a Mariachi El Bronx and The Bronx was probably the best suited. Um, it was pretty tasty. Now, the lead singer is in both bands, and Mariachi El Bronx started out as just a way to say that there isn't any good. The guy said that thought that hey, there's no good mariachi music anymore, so let's make a band. It's pretty cool. Anyway, check it out, or just check out Mariachi El Bronx in the Bronx. It'll get your asses kicked pretty well. Um, yeah, so I'm sipping on a little bit of HEB diet tea. Mmm, some sweet tea. Um, Down here in Austin or in Texas, really, HEB is pretty dang tasty. It's right up there with Hy-Vee, I think. I don't know. Anyway, um, so what happened last week? You may have seen the last whimpering of the baseball season done in Kansas City. This is all I'm going to talk about the Royals now, except maybe All Star Weekend. But yeah, there's a lot of hope from my buds up north, back home, who thought Kansas City was going to be in the divisional playoffs. A lot of smack, more talked about this year than the last couple of years, actually. Kind of funny too, actually, because usually the hype, kicks off well into June when they start falling apart, and it fell apart fast. So welcome anybody who got tired of the Royals and wants to start talking about football, which, I mean, the draft's next week for the NFL. We have spring practices going on. Still, a spring game for K State, I think, is next weekend, as well as I think West Virginia had theirs last weekend. But let's talk about what happened in the last week, shall we? Um, Speaking of getting your asses kicked, I think Charlie Weiss is on the prowl, and really, with somebody that's a big media puffy marshmallow man, huggable little tasty sugary guy like Charlie Weiss, you kind of tend to talk about him every week. So at least that's a win for Kansas. At any rate, he's yelling at his players. He's trying to teach them how to win now, which I don't remember if he ever taught Notre Dame how to win, and most certainly I don't know how his offense learned how to win last year at Florida, but we'll find out whether or not they get to know how to win or act like they've been there before or whatever. But he was yelling at him, giving some flack and whatnot. But speaking of Charlie Weiss's former employer, yeah, that's right. Notre Dame is going to play in Ireland. Actually, hell, I don't even know. Well, or don't even care. Okay. So Notre Dame's opponent will be Navy. Okay, so that's a big deal. So Navy and Notre Dame is going to actually play in Ireland. So that's going to be exciting. I wonder if there's going to be the kind of fandom at the football game that you would see in English football game. Yeah, the ball kicking kind, not the ball catching kind. Wonder if there's gonna be some hooligans out there who got pissed drunk at the Blarney Stone and now they're gonna take the rage out on Navy. I don't know. Who knows? It'll be fun. I think I'll probably end up watching that. That's for sure. Um, what else has happened in the last week? Um, I think the Arkansas tragedy is over. Jessica Dorrell resigned from her position that she earned question mark from Bobby Petrino, who's now out looking for another job. It was the only thing that she could do, really. I mean, she couldn't stay on there. She couldn't stick around. Bad PR for the whole school. She resigned. She's out. Goodbye. Maybe she'll be in a GoDaddy commercial in the future. Who knows? Who knows? USC will be national, as in nationally radio-vised. Radio broadcast, but I'm going to call it radio-vised because that sounds cooler. They're going to be radio-vised by ESPN because USC, and that's it. I don't know. I guess the powers that be are pinning the hopes on USC actually showing up this year. As a matter of fact, I think the probation is gone. I could be wrong on that, but they are going to be on national radio, and good luck to them. I don't know. It's still kind of hype to me, but we'll figure it out. Come next fall. Oh yeah. What some people over in College Station can't figure out is geography. What the hell happened? Now, yeah, I mean ATM, UATM, TM, TM, whatever. At any rate, there's this. They're quickly to announce the company that did this T-shirting snafu, I guess. This company printed up, welcome to the SEC, it's going to be tough and all this other stuff. And they printed out a map of the FCC that included North Carolina and did not include Missouri. I thought Nebraska stood for knowledge with an N. I didn't know Texas A&M stood for knowledge with a retarded on geography. I don't know. It's laughable. It's hilarious. And you know, from the Texas A&M fans that I've talked to, they're eating their crow pretty well on that. So I gotta give them props. Good for not jumping to the defensive on that. It was an obvious boneheaded move, but hey, you know, it happens with every school. I mean, look at K-State. 2 words, EcoCat. All right, so hey, it's still hilarious. What else? Why is Ryan Tannehill getting all the love? Anyway, that's NFL draft. Blech. Arkansas. You know, back to Arkansas. They somehow got a $1.25 million donation just for Bobby Petrino getting fired. Talk about rallying the troops. Man, you know, if only, like, somehow Kansas got that kind of money for Cannon, Turner, Gill, or, well, you know, on the flip side, Kansas State lost about 1.25 for the firing Ron Prince. He stomped his way on out the door with cash in hands, and whew, that was ridiculous. So, I don't know. That's SEC football, I guess. If you do something really dirty or nasty, there's going to be some fat pockets behind you to save the school. Oh, man. Speaking of money, West Virginia is starting to sell tickets a lot more, starting to get more donations now that they're in the Big 12. That's expected. It's a new conference, bigger travels, you know, and they're actually probably going to compete this year. So, you know, they're getting more donations and they're going to start stepping up to the plate, at least spending wise. I don't know why I would complain about that because Kansas State hardly spends any money and they still compete, but, you know, it is what it is. I'm going to skip the BCS because there's going to be more news next week about the meetings. I guess there isn't a leader in the clubhouse for the plans, including that ridiculous Pac-12 Big 10-12 thing that was like the Rose Bowl was like the redheaded stepchild of the Bulls and could get a Super Mario star and like invincibility wise blow their way through some kind of super seeding or some ridiculous thing. What hubris. Anyway, so we'll talk about that next week. Man. Portland, Oregon is kind of almost as tasty as this fine diet sweet tea. And the whole state of Oregon apparently is hipster nirvana. And part of that is because there's a state law that they cannot arrest without probable cause for marijuana usage. And, well, the smoke blew over Eugene, and apparently ESPN came out with some reports about the old Oregon Ducks getting high and feeling quacktastic after that. I'm sure more players do that across the country. I think the shocking part of it was just the amount or the number of players who disclosed that the whole team pretty much got high. That's a new one. I guess in Oregon you feel like you can say that kind of stuff. But, yeah, I don't know if there's any repercussions or whatnot. I mean, Oregon's going to, compete in the Pac-12 again this year, so I'm sure they're going to blow the smoke out of the locker rooms and get a better PR campaign when coming into the season. I mean, they're already under NCAA investigation, so, hopefully they'll clear the air on that and be ready to rock for next year. Speaking of clearing the air, oh, man. You know what? I'm just going to finish on Gary Pinkel. He's leaving his wife. Apparently they were separated earlier this year. Why am I bringing coaches' personal lives into this? Because Missouri. That's why. Or misery. I guess he was in misery with his wife. Or, well, I guess he announced that he left his wife, which seemed kind of silly because she wasn't the one that was mega drunk on the road in Colombia. So maybe, I don't know. Maybe he just wanted to be the fall guy on that, which, good for him, I guess. Or maybe he saw the whole thing with Petrino and decided he didn't want to get have that much baggage attached to him if something like that gets caught, sharing too many drinks at a bar, hanging out, at Shakespeare's, and then running over to some bar and getting plowed and, hiring assistant, all that other fun, juicy stuff. Maybe it was just like, I'm going to cut this off now. That way it'll be better off when I go and hire assistants or whatever. I don't know. It's Gary Pinkel. I'm sure he had a lot to think and drink on that personal issue. So, but I'm glad he made it public because whenever somebody gets a divorce, you see that announced in the paper. I think in between obituaries and wedding announcements. It's kind of the triangle of life. So, congrats, question mark, to Gary Pinkel. I don't know. Anyway, that's all for this week. Keep it real. It's getting warmer. Football's getting closer. Baseball still sucks. Basketball's a joke. And stay tuned. Hey, you got any comments? Comment below because I'm going to point here. I'm going to point here, and then I'm going to try, this is kind of new. I'm going to ask that you maybe subscribe up there, I don't know, with the $0 advertising dollar revenue that I get on purpose. Yeah, so anyway, y'all have a good one, and we'll see y'all's next week.